What would you do if God told you he was about to destroy a city? Not a city of strangers, not a place you have never visited, but the city where your own family is trapped. Abraham faced that exact moment, and he decided to argue with the Almighty. Abraham, his nephew trapped in the valley, the cities of the plain teetering on the edge of fire. One breath from heaven could erase them all, dust to dust, ash to ash, the promise scattered. You know what it is to love someone caught in their own ruin, to stand between them and the falling blade. Can a man reason with the one who shaped the stars? The dust of Mamre still swirls. It clings to his robe, to the folds of his beard. Not the dust of travel, the residue of presence. 3 figures walked here. Now only one remains. The others, gone down the slope, toward the stench of brine and bitumen, toward Sodom. He watches, arms at his sides, fingers curled, then open. The wind carries the scent of sulfur from the south. Not yet, but soon. God lingers, not in the form of flame or thunder, in the shape of a man who pauses, who turns, who considers. A silence, not empty, thick, like the air before lightning splits the sky. Then, words, not command, not decree, a question, soft, terrible. Shall I hide it? From him? From this man of dust and doubt? The sovereign one, halting, consulting, inviting the creature into the council of the divine, not a whisper from the throne, a deliberation, as if justice itself must be weighed in human breath. The outcry, it rises, not from prophets, not from priests, from the city. A groan, a scream buried in brick and lust. The weight of it bends the reeds along the Jordan. The earth remembers what happens in locked rooms. Sin, not private, not hidden, egregious. A wound that festers in the light. And Abraham, still, not prostrate, not silent. The sole guardian of the promise, the one through whom nations were meant to bloom. What if the fire consumes more than the guilty? What if the child of his brother is caught in the collapse? The storm rolls, not rain, not water. A wall of cloud, bruised dark, boiling over the valley. No thunder, not yet. Only the low growl of wind through dry reeds. The sky holds its breath. He steps forward, not with blade, not with shield, with a word. Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? The question hangs, naked, dangerous. He does not plead for mercy as a beggar. He argues justice as a son, as one who has tasted covenant, who has walked with the unseen. What if there are 50 who bow not, who defile not, who still light the lamp at evening and speak the old names? Is it your way to slay the blameless with the vile? No, it cannot be. The wind stills, the dust settles. For a moment, even the cloud halts in its advance, and the answer comes, not in fire, not in rebuke. No, it is not my way. A crack in the firmament, a door ajar in the court of heaven. The negotiation begins, not of power, but of righteousness, not of fear, but of faith daring to speak. The clouds churn, the valley waits, and a man stands between a city and its end, armed only with a question. How low can the number go? How far does mercy stretch? And if 50 fall to 45, then 30, then 20. Will the judge of all the earth still do right? The edge, a drop that swallows the eye. Below, the land folds in on itself, a wound in the earth. Stones loosen, they fall. No sound returns, only the dry rasp of pebbles skittering down rock. He stands, bare feet on fractured limestone. Cold seeps through the soles, not from the ground, from within. A chill that began in the marrow. Kings do not answer, they decree. Their word is the plow that cuts the field, the axe that fells the tree. To speak against it, your tongue becomes kindling. He knows this, feels it in the knot behind his ribs. The Hittite oaths flash, blood in the dust, hands pressed to hot stone. The crack of a lamb's skull split open beneath the sun. Treaty sealed, obedience etched in bone. To question is to unmake, to vanish. Silence, not empty, thick with the weight of what has not been said. The divine voice paused, turned, looked. And in that look, a door cracked open. But doors can slam, can crush fingers, can bury a man in rubble. To speak now is to step beyond the boundary stone, beyond the line drawn in ash. He breathes. Air scrapes the throat. Dust coats the tongue. Not the dust of travel, the residue of standing too close to fire. He thinks of Lot, nephew, kin, flesh of his brother's line, trapped in that valley where the air tastes of salt and rot. A man who sat at the city gate, who bowed his head when the strong men passed, who lit no lamp for the stranger, who looked away when the cry rose in the night. Yet, still, blood, still a name spoken at the well, still a face in the memory of home. To lose him is to lose a thread in the weave of what was promised. A single thread. But pull it, and the whole cloth may unravel. The outcry, Ze'aka, not a whisper, not a prayer. A scream wrenched from the throat of the earth itself. The cry of the girl dragged behind the wall. The groan of the laborer with broken hands. The wail of the widow whose son was thrown into the fire. It rises, not to the heavens in worship, in accusation. It coils up the pillars of smoke from the city's ovens. It rides the wind. It reaches. And God, He hears, not as a distant king, as one who leans from the threshold, who listens, who feels the tremor in the voice. Sodom, not merely lust, not just the twist of desire. It is the unraveling of order, the guest beaten at the door, the child sold for a loaf of bread, the strong devouring the weak as if it were law. The world turned upside down, the created balance shattered. No hospitality, no mercy, no fear of the stranger, only power, only appetite. A city that has gnawed its own soul to the bone, and still he moves. One step, then another, toward the presence, toward the voice that could unmake him with a syllable. His mouth dry, lips cracked, he speaks. Not as a prophet, not as a priest. as a man who has walked with dust on his sandals and stars in his eyes. I, who am but dust and ashes. The words fall like stones into water, heavy, sinking. He names his place, his fragility, his mortality. Yet he speaks. Mishpat, judgment, not rage, not fury. A verdict, a weighing, scales in the hand of the unseen, not arbitrary, not capricious, but just. Must it fall equally? Must the innocent be crushed beneath the same stone as the guilty? Is that justice? Or is it merely force dressed in a holy name? The memory of the flood rises, water, black, endless. The sky wept for 40 days, the earth drowned. Every cry silenced, every breath extinguished. Only one family in the ark, only one branch spared. God has wiped the slate before. Will he do it again? Is this the pattern? Sin rises, outcry swells, then annihilation? Is that the only answer? He dares, not to beg, not to weep, but to ask, is it right? Is it your way? The question is not defiance, it is deeper. A plea for coherence, for character. Is God defined by might or by fairness? By the thunder of command? Or by the consistency of justice? He stands on the precipice, not of rock, of understanding. One misstep, not into the gorge below, but into chaos. If God is not just, then what is the world? A theater of violence? A game of chance? But if he is just, then even the smallest voice may speak. Even the dust may question. Each word now is a step into shadow, into uncharted ground, not law, not ritual, but relationship. A dialogue where the creature speaks to the Creator, not as slave to master, but as one who has been invited into the council, into the inner chamber, where grace, thin and fragile as spider silk, trembles in the wind. The air stills. The wind stops. Even the distant cry from the valley seems to hush. He waits, throat tight, fingers curled into fists. The weight of a city, the weight of a nephew, the weight of a promise, the weight of a question that could break the world or mend it. He speaks, voice frayed at the edges, not loud, not bold, a thread pulled from the hem of courage. Will you indeed sweep away the righteous with the wicked? The words do not fly. They crawl across stone, into the hush between breaths, into the space where thunder should be. No answer yet. Only the salt tang of wind off the Dead Sea, the distant groan of a hinge on a broken gate. Then, again, deeper now, a tremor in the syllables. Shall not the judge of all the earth do what is just? Not a plea, a challenge wrapped in reverence, a son daring the Father's face. The air tightens like a rope drawn through sand. 50. He names it, a number pulled from dust and dread. Suppose there are 50 righteous within the city. Not a guess, a test. The wind stills, the rocks exhale, and response, immediate, unfaltering. I will spare the whole place for their sake. No hesitation, no bargaining, just yes. A door flung wide, not of compromise, of principle. The righteous, they matter, Their presence, a weight, a counterbalance, a hidden keystone holding up a crumbling arch. The wicked may flood the streets, but if 50 stand unbent, then mercy holds. He bows lower, knees not touching ground, but spirit pressed into the dirt. Behold, I have undertaken to speak to the Lord, I who am but dust and ashes. The ash clings to skin, to voice, to the back of the throat. He feels it, the grit, the frailty, the absurdity of standing here, arguing with the breath that shaped mountains. Yet, he lifts his head again. What if 5 are lacking? 45? Would you destroy the city for lack of 5? Silence. Longer this time. The clouds knot. The horizon darkens. Then, for 45, I will not destroy it. The rhythm begins like waves, relentless, each crest higher than the last, each crash deeper into the stone. 40, he offers. 30, the numbers fall like pebbles down a cliff, each one a risk, each one a step closer to the edge. And each time, yes, the voice from the cloud does not waver, does not grow cold. For 40, yes. For 30, yes. The pattern holds, the mercy stretches. But how far? Can it bend without breaking? The rocks below do not yield, black, jagged, unmoved by centuries of tide, like the silence between words, like the pause before a name is spoken. 20. He whispers it, as if afraid the number itself might shatter. A breath, a plea. Suppose 20 are found there. The wind stops. Even the gulls above the salt flats cease their cry. The world holds its breath. Then, for 20, I will not destroy it. Relief, thin, fleeting, like mist over water, gone before it can be grasped. But he does not stop, cannot. The image of Lot, trapped. The memory of laughter in a courtyard long silenced. The promise, fragile as a spider's thread. 10. The final descent. He trembles, not from cold, from the weight of what he asks. Oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak again, but this once. Suppose 10 are found there. The silence now is a living thing. It presses against the chest, against the temples. The sky, bruised, the earth, still. Then, for the sake of 10, I will not destroy it. A vow carved into the air, unbreakable. The storm recedes, the cloud uncurls, the presence lifts like smoke from a dying fire. The Lord departs, not in fury, not in silence, in absence, a space where power once stood. Abraham stands, alone, feet rooted in cracked earth, hands empty, voice spent. The negotiation ends, not with triumph, not with celebration, with stillness. The waves still crash, but softer now. The rocks remain, scarred, unchanged. Yet, something has shifted. The boundary of mercy has been mapped, pushed to its limit. 10. Handful, a remnant, flicker in the dark. He turns, slow. The dust swirls at his ankles. The wind returns, carrying the scent of brine, of distant rain, of smoke from a hearth not yet extinguished. The question lingers, not spoken, not needed. It hums in the air, in the hollow of the rocks, in the echo of the waves. Will there even be 10? The city sleeps, oblivious, doomed, or saved. No one knows, no one sees. But he has spoken, and the judge of all the earth has answered. He stood in the breach where flame met sky, a man with dust in his voice and a city's fate in his hands. Not 10. He could not find 10. The plea ended, the silence roared, but the story did not. It bent, like light through cracked glass, toward another figure, another hill, another plea. Not bargained, but given. One righteous for the many. Not a number haggled from the dust, but a name spoken from eternity. Jesus, the true son of Abraham, not walking toward Sodom, but entering it. Not standing at the edge of destruction, but stepping into its heart. The streets reek with betrayal, the air thick with broken oaths. Children weep in alleyways, doors barred against the stranger. And he walks in, no demand, no condition, only love, only blood. Abraham asked, "Will the judge do right?" The question hung over the salt flats, over the blackened stones, over every soul who ever wondered if justice could be kind. And the answer came, not in words, not from a cloud, but on a hill, outside the gate, where the judge himself wore chains, where the judge felt the lash, where the judge gasped beneath the weight of wood. The scales balanced, not by finding 50, not by scraping together 10, but by one man, wholly righteous, wholly forsaken. The math of mercy rewired. Abraham counted down from 50 to 40 to 10, each number a plea, each yes a reprieve, but the final sum was 0, no remnant, no rescue, only ruin. And then Christ, who does not count, who does not bargain, who says, "For the sake of one, I will save the many." One, not found in the city, but standing outside it, bearing its curse, wearing its shame. The righteous one, for the unrighteous, the innocent, swallowed by the guilty, not because justice failed, but because it was fulfilled. Abraham fell silent at 10, his voice spent, his courage spent, the sky emptied, the presence gone. But at Calvary, silence breaks, not with thunder, not with fire, with a cry. Father, forgive them, not a plea for mercy on the righteous, but for the wicked, for the hammer wielders, for the mockers, for the ones who nailed him. The true intercessor does not stand at a distance. He hangs in the center, arms stretched wide, not measuring worth, but creating it. Sodom was spared, if righteousness dwelled within, but we are spared because righteousness walked among us, because he died, because he rose. The condition was met, not by us. In him, the city of destruction still stands, not because of hidden saints, but because the judge took the fire. The flames that should have consumed us licked his skin, burned his lungs, devoured his flesh, and still he whispered, "Father, it is finished." the negotiation in the field, the slow descent of numbers, the fragile hope in each yes. It was never about the count. It was about the lack, the absence of 10, the impossibility of rescue by human measure. And so, he came, the mediator, not of dust and ashes, but of glory and grace. 1 Timothy whispers what Genesis foreshadowed: one mediator between God and man, the man Christ Jesus, not pleading for 50, not begging for 10, offering himself once for all. We are the city, our hands stained, our hearts hardened, our doors barred to the poor, our eyes blind to the broken. We are the guilty ones, the ones who should have burned, but we breathe, we live because he stood, not in the field, but on the cross, between the living and the dead. The plague passed, the sword stayed, not by our merit, by his mercy. The fire fell, but it fell on him. The weight of wrath, the cup of judgment, poured out, not on Sodom, on Golgotha. The earth shook, the sky darkened, the veil tore, and the judge died. Now, light, not the harsh glare of noon, but the golden hour, the sun breaking through storm-racked clouds, warmth on cold stone, a glow across the valley, not erasing the ruin, but redeeming it. The mercy was there all along, hidden in the judgment, woven into the fire, not absent, not delayed, perfectly timed. The light does not deny the darkness. It pierces it, like grace through sin, like resurrection through death. The dust of Abraham's plea still swirls, but it is caught now in a greater wind. The breath of the risen one, the same voice that said, "Let there be light," now says, "Come to me." The same arms that stayed the flood now stretch wide on wood. The same justice that demanded 10 now rests satisfied in 1. The city still burns in sin, but the fire has been answered by a greater fire, the fire of love, consuming, cleansing, creating, and the light grows, not fading, not retreating, spreading over cracked earth, over broken hearts, over every soul who ever dared to ask, "Will the judge do right?" Yes, and he has. By becoming the judged, by bearing the fire, by being the one, the only one. Who could save us? Not by finding righteousness in the city, but by bringing it from heaven to the cross, to us. The light returns, not sudden, not sharp, a slow seep through the trees. Gray mist curls around trunks, rising like breath from the soil. You feel it, the cool damp on your face, the quiet, not empty, full, thick with the hush of moss underfoot, the distant drip of dew from leaves. No thunder, no flame, only this, the after, the release. How do you pray now? For those who do not know, who walk blind through their own ruin. Do you plead like a man bargaining at dawn, voice cracking with urgency? Or do you stand hollowed, watching smoke rise from what could have been? There is no formula, no number to reach, only the weight of a name on your tongue, a face in your mind. You are not called to fix, only to stand in the space between, where mercy leans close. Abraham walked back, down the slope, dust settling on his robe. No crowd, no song, just the rhythm of one man moving through silence. The work done, not with triumph, with surrender. He lifted nothing, carried no proof, only the echo of a promise. It will not happen if you let it be so. And now, this, the stillness after speech, the breath after crying out. You are invited here, not to argue, not to demand, but to lay down what you've been holding. That name, that fear, that impossible hope. Place it in the damp earth. Let the fog carry it. Prayer is not a lever, not a tool to twist the heavens. It is alignment, a slow turning of the soul toward the pulse beneath all things. You do not change the heart above. You uncover your own. Rest. Because justice is not asleep. Because the one who weighs nations also counts the fall of a sparrow. Because the same voice that halted destruction once still moves, quiet, sure, through the corridors of time. The path ahead is not clear. It vanishes into mist. But you are not lost, you are held. Each step forward is taken in the shadow of one who went before. Arms open, hands pierced, breath spent for you. Breathe in. The air is cool, scent of pine, of wet bark, of soil turning under moonlight. Breathe out. The knot in your chest, the name you've carried, the guilt, the grief. Let it go. Not because it's gone, but because it's known. You do not have to stay on the mountain. You do not have to keep shouting into the dark. Come down, sit, lean against the tree, feel its rough skin against your back. Listen to your own breath, slow, even, real. The world continues. Cities rise, fall, people stumble, hurt, forget. But here, in this clearing, there is peace, not because all is well, but because one is. Close your eyes. The light filters through your lids, soft gold. The wind stirs a single leaf. A bird calls, once, far off. You are not alone. You are not abandoned. You are carried. In silence, in rest, in the unspoken yes that echoes long after the words are gone.